What I've learned about gaming and why I'm quitting.
So I don't usually wear my glasses on video or stream, but I just walked into my light stand and it hit so hard that when I went to remove my glasses, I have a mark on my face. So deal with it. All right. So
Nice.
today we're going to talk about what I've learned being a content creator slash streamer, a little bit of streaming. I'm more of a content creator, and how to become one. And also, the
Oh,
big
dang.
question is, why am I headed away from gaming? Why am I changing my tune? And
Because gaming sucks. Man.
I just feel like this is the only time I'm really going to make a video like this. So let's jump into it. And I'm titling
Because gaming sucks, but you still come back to it. Ha!
this notepad.
Notepad via, or Notepad a la Devin Nash. Of course. The influence of D-Bone.
A la Devin Nash. If you ever watched one of his videos, this is kind of his style. So anyways, okay. Pathway to become a gaming creator, streamer. I just want to first differentiate like doing something as a hobby versus a career. And
Yep.
the best analogy that I can make is I used to be a professional photographer. I did commercial photography and video and all that in production. And
Nice.
and a lot of people do that stuff as a hobby, and the mindset is completely different. You know, when you are taking your camera to go on a nature walk or you're at your friend's wedding, you're hoping to get a good photo. And when you do
Yeah.
it as a professional, you have to get a good photo. Rain
Ah.
or shine, if people are happy or not happy, if you're doing family photography and one of the little kids is a little shit and won't sit down and won't look at the camera and is crying the whole time, you have to make this family happy. You need to get a photo for them. They hired you to do it. You're there.
I mean, this is all granted, you know, I would imagine it's going to be different as a beginner photographer versus like a more experienced photographer. Um, you know, in the beginning, it's going to be insanely tough because, maybe you're not good with people, you just want to take pictures and, maybe you don't know all the settings or whatever. Um, just little minutia things like this. But, and versus an experienced photographer that, becomes more of a people person and, you're if a photo doesn't look good when you review it, immediately like what settings to fix and adjust, So it gets easier over time.
And it's a waste of your time and their time. Like, we just need to get it done.
Yeah.
And it changes the stress around everything. And I just want to be clear, like, this video is for someone who wants to expand their stream into something more
Ooh,
than a
that's
hobby.
me.
And if you haven't made that decision yet, like if you're kind of on the fence, you don't know which way to go, my philosophy is shit or get off the pot. Because you can make more money in the future. You can also lose money, and it's a lot easier to lose money than it is to make money, in my opinion. But you can always make or lose money. You can lose relationships. You can make them back. You can retain them. You can make new relationships. But the one thing you can't get back and make more of is time. You can maybe take care of your.
Well, all the rich people are trying to fix that. They're trying to gain time with all that extra stuff they got, the billions and trillions of dollars, whatever.
Body and to make, to give yourself more time, but you can't make more time. And once you've lost it, it's gone forever. So decide what you want to do and do it. I'm a big proponent of, if you're going to do it, do it. Sounds simple, hard to do in reality. So there are.
Well, this is a commitment issue. How committed are you to keep doing the thing that you want to do, more or less, is I think what he's trying to get at. If you're going to do it, But a lot of the time, it's like, I would imagine, at least for me, it's like you don't really know like where to start out, what to do. You're just doing it as a hobby. Maybe it takes off, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you edit your videos good, maybe you don't. Maybe you make a good thumbnail, maybe you don't.
Some basic principles, as we move forward here. I define intelligence in content creation as being presented with the same situation and having a new action and doing something different. So I hope after this video, everybody who's kind of in this industry, or you're thinking about streaming or content creation, or maybe you can apply this to other parts of your life, that you take something from this And the next time you go to make a video, or the next time you start a creative project, that you do something different. And that would be intelligence. Or you go and you research and you find out why I'm wrong, and maybe you do something slightly different, whatever. But
Yeah.
but there's some kind of action involved. You're not just repeating things over and over and over.
This is your ability to adapt to a new situation. Generally, and this is generally, people that are, I don't know, I would say successful in this industry or whatever, they're more willing to adapt to a new environment. So like new social medias that pop up, they're more willing to just jump on the new social media, get an account on there. Or maybe they're not, maybe they're lazy, but maybe they're fine with just doing YouTube and Twitch. They don't need to do TikTok and Facebook and all the other, fucking social medias or whatever. It just depends. What are you comfortable with?
And also, a basic principle here is that entertainment is not about you.
Nope.
A lot of people have this backwards. They think that people get really popular and then people will listen to their music and watch their movies and watch their content because of who they are and that they have subscribers. And the way that I look at it is people like what you're doing.
Yeah.
And the second you stop doing what they like, they stop watching. And this has been repeated in every single industry.
Yeah. This is kind of, okay, so for at least like streaming and content creation, it's more of like there's a person, like the real person side, and then the character side, the part that you see. And the character side is more like the actions, the entertaining person, how animated they are, how charismatic they are, how skillful they are, how funny they are, whatever. That's just like a piece of them, versus like the entire real person of it, which more or less is more often the case, is more boring than like the caricature person that they're presenting to you.
A movie director who makes a bad movie, people will not watch it. It does not do well. A musician who puts out an album that sucks, no one listens to it.
Right.
And if you go to their concert and they play that crappy music and everyone who knows you wants you to play the old stuff, people will literally leave the concert and boo. I mean, I've watched it happen. And on YouTube,
that sucks.
Let's just talk about me for a second. If you make your content about Tarkov, so here's a good Tarkov video about lasers. I knew this video was going to do good because my audience wanted to know why I use 2 lasers. This video is not about me. I don't need to tell me that why I use 2 lasers in Tarkov. This was a question that I knew was going to do well. And then the Wiggle video, obviously doing well. And then here's a couple videos related to this topic, which is what people want to see. The core Tarkov audience,
Yeah.
They want to see me go after cheating in Tarkov. They want to see me go after.
Well, because cheating is so relatable with, you make content about video games and then all of a sudden you say, I cheated with the thumbnail of like all the wall hacks and shit. Cheating is very relatable to the video game audience because cheating is just a prevalent thing that is happening more and more the longer video games are around and developers do nothing about. So, it's relatable, very relatable.
After BSG, they want to see me follow this in other games. They want to know what's going on. And this is why a follow video almost got 1 million views, which is pretty incredible. I was actually surprised about this.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised. Before I posted this video, I told Kelly, like, if I can get 100,000 views, that would be like amazing on this video. I just knew, I knew this was going to do well. And the reason why is I'm going after early access gaming, which guess what? My entire audience is an early access, backer, at least for Tarkov. And a lot of there's a lot of crossover to Star Citizen. So I think this is my least liked video of any video I've ever made.
Really?
And I knew that going in.
I liked it.
And the thing is, because it's not about me. Okay. I facilitate the information. I facilitate the entertainment. I do a lot of research and do a lot of editing to present information in a really nice way. If you take me out of the picture and put somebody else who's doing a similar thing, it would work. Okay. And then basic principles, most people give up or they don't put enough effort into things. Okay. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. So how do you go from A to B? How do you go from...
Yeah, I mean, this is super relatable to me. Like when I first started streaming and like, was it the first couple months, I did the stupid mistake of getting a bunch of fucking expensive PCs, monitors, fucking lights, all this dumb shit. It's like that's not what you focus on at first. You focus on the content first. Um, that's literally it. Figure out what you want to make and then just make it, It's not so much about, but the thing is, like, with that is like the standard of quality is like increasing, and not everybody like else is like I don't know, it's hard to say. So like everyone else isn't, I don't know, maybe they're not like catching up to like the standard, because the standard increases for whatever quality of content, either like skill or like funny slash entertaining or journalism or whatever. Not everybody is gonna be able to have access to those things or whatever. It takes longer to grind to get good at a game. Funny is like kind of subjective or whatever. Like the really funny people have had to grind a long time to be funny. Seldom is somebody just funny like right off the rip or whatever. This goes back to the question, like, is it possible to teach somebody to be funny or whatever, or is it just like a skill you're just born with? There's been a couple comedians that say it is possible to teach someone, and then there's another group of comedians that's like, nah, you're either just funny or you're not. So that's that. But this is just going back to what I was saying before. The standard is constantly increasing, and that has to be acknowledged. So it is what it is.
Not creating content to creating content or being successful or whatever. So you just need to start going live and making content on YouTube. And I know everyone says this, but I can't reiterate how important it is to just go and make content and start practicing. And the truth is, nobody will watch you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And your mistake is to try to rely on friends and acquaintances.
Yep. Don't do that.
Trying to convince people to watch you. There's this community that I used to be somewhat associated with, and they would do all these like follow farm things where everyone would like pull the tab up, and you would kind of inflate views because everyone's ego. They want to see the big number.
So what he's referencing is like the whole follow for follow culture. I'm not sure if it's still a thing. It probably is to some degree, but it's like an artificial way of making real people kind of inflate your viewer number whenever you're live on whatever stream platform or whatever. It's like the honest way of view botting. Or you could just view bot and pay for views or whatever to make your number or picture, go higher up on that little homepage of whatever game, whatever site, because people are more likely to click on your stream when you got more people watching. It's easier to be a streamer when you have more people watching. It just is.
But what you don't realize is when you artificially inflate your numbers, whether it be subscribers or viewers or anything like that, you're just doing a disservice to yourself, and you're hurting yourself. You're kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
You're artificially giving yourself some views. And what this community would do is like have a bunch of people who are AFK in a community with a tab open, and they just keep this view farm going, and they would transfer it to each other around so they can kind of artificially bump their numbers.
Yeah.
And what you realize is that you're relying on people to give you numbers that are not actually being entertained. Okay. So you need to come up with a way is how can I entertain people who want to watch me? Because once you get past your friends and your acquaintances, how are you going to get that next person? How are you going to get the person after that? And if you haven't developed that skill, and if you've been given the wrong feedback, it's like asking your mom if you're a good singer. And
yeah. And then all of a sudden you go to sing in front of a random group of people, and they're just like, they just dip out like, this guy sucks, I'm just gonna walk away. But then you go back to your mom, and then you ask your mom, am I a really good singer? And then she tells you the truth. She's like, nah, I just didn't want to tell you the truth, honey. I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
It's great and all, but what you should do is go find an agent or go find somebody in the industry who's a singer and ask them what you should be doing better, or get private lessons or whatever.
Granted, he's using singing as an example. I would imagine the singing industry is completely saturated right now. You can't just be a singer. You have to be a have a whole slew of other skills to go along with it, you know? You have to be a good dancer, you have to memorize choreography, you have to, you know, be able to sing the thing multiple times and, you know, get like the best version of like a line or like a word, you know. And this is like just if you're doing it by yourself or whatever. And like this is just singing. I would imagine it's the same way for like instruments, you know, like whatever instrument you're playing. It, it's gonna be you're gonna be hard struck to find success like instantaneously.
And so you're avoiding reality when you do this. Okay. Again, everyone needs to start somewhere. There's nothing wrong with asking your friends to, hey, come watch my stream and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a point in which you need to kind of move on from that. And it should be pretty early. So again, you know, you need to practice all of these things. How do you entertain? How do you keep people's attention? How do you edit?
Yeah.
I mean, it can take years to get really, really good at editing.
You can there was like what was it? There was a video or like a clip of some guy that he like big screened it and he did like a big full screen view of like the camera, and he had this gorgeous setup of like all the fucking monitors, the best lighting, all this other shit. And he was like complaining about he took acting classes, he took stand-up comedian classes, he I don't know, like all these other things. He learned how to edit, he learned how to make YouTube videos and all this other shit. And it's like he learned all these things, but nobody watched him still. You could, you know, he had like 10K PC, good sound, good mic, whatever. Nobody still watched him because the content was just not there. He learned how to do everything besides make good content.
But you know, in a couple months, you can learn how to edit efficiently. You know, to get the point across.
Yeah.
How do you record and you know, how do you get better quality? And again, sound is more important than video. I see people mess this up all the time. Watch some videos on how to set levels. Like every time you go to make a stream or a video, you should be learning something new and implementing something new.
Just one thing.
You should be watching. There's so many videos on YouTube on how to do all this stuff.
So this, what he's presenting is like, you have all of these options available to learn how to set yourself up with the best canvas, the best paint, the best like easel, the best brush, the best, I don't know, that fucking, I don't know, that board that they squirt all the paint on. You have the best paint thinner, you got the best blades, all this other things. And now you have your canvas in front of you. And now comes the time where you have to do something. You got the best everything. And now when you go to take a stroke, you suck at it. That is kind of what I'm getting. You know, okay, I just wanted to, let's hear.
Right. You know, so many videos. And the whole idea is that over time you get a little bit better every single stream, every single video, and eventually when you do get an audience or someone raids you, or you get a new viewer who comes in and says hi to you, they actually have something better to watch because you've been working on it the whole time, and it does pay off, right? You know, I was making Tarkov content that was getting 1,000 views, and eventually I was starting to get into the 10, 20, 30,000, maybe 60,000 view range on videos. And if I hadn't been doing all of this stuff ahead of time, I would have lost them. You know, they would have clicked out. It was, oh man, your video's off. It's fuzzy. Your sound's not very good. You don't know how to have a conversation with somebody. You're not retaining my attention.
Well, trying to expect people skills from a gamer, that's a big ask. All right. That's your number one mistake.
And they're going to click out. People have so many things to watch on YouTube. Why are they going to watch you?
Yeah.
Start figuring out what your competitive advantage is and what you can do. And this is the only way to do it, is to just go and try to make stuff. And so I put it here, find out about yourself, try new things. So are you the kind of person that needs to do like game shows and giveaways? Are you somebody who likes to have guests on? Do you like playing with other people and having almost like a podcast while you game? Are you somebody who's super entertaining and you're super charismatic and are you like an XQC who's like really like people like watching you react to things? Or do you like pick fights with people in your chat and bring them into Discord and have arguments that people like watching? Or, like there's something for everyone. You need to figure this out. And likely you don't know what your competitive advantage is. You don't know what you are good at. There's something there, but you need to figure it out. And one of the things you do is you just try. You just try different things. So you need to be making content elsewhere. So let's check out Mr. Gibbon. So Mr. Gibbon.
Yep, this is what I was talking about before. The second a new, social media drops, just jump on it, jump in there. Who cares if it's for like little kids or whatever, If that's the perception, it's fine. It is what it is, but it's not really going to affect the content that you put out. Like, you can put it out in the style that would be attractive to little kids. Okay, that just sounds fucking stupid. Jesus Christ. That's not what I meant. God. Okay, just keep, yeah.
He makes a lot of content on TikTok, and wow, he's live right now. Okay, so he is live on TikTok. And he puts this little slice of his screen, of the vertical slice.
The slice.
And he's got people watching. But really where he wants you is on Twitch.
On his
Mr.
Twitch.
Gibbon, and he's live right now. He has 1.3 thousand people watching him.
So the reason that you want to accumulate viewers and followership elsewhere that's not Twitch, or that's not the YouTube live part, or Kick, or whatever, is you just want to get people's attention first. The more people's attention that you can get, the better it's going to be for you. Because if you can get people's attention, like at least for a couple, like a video, or like however long TikTok is, that's your foot in the door. All right. And then once you have your foot in the door, then all of a sudden you could make like something like, oh, I'm going to be live on Twitch. I'm going to be live on YouTube. I'm going to be live on Joe Schmo social media. Come check me out on fucking December 25th, where I open all these days. And then you put that out like a couple weeks or however long ahead of time. And then the day comes around, all of a sudden, wham, then you got a couple hundred, maybe even 1,000 viewers or whatever. All right. It's all set up. There's nothing like, I was gonna say lucky, but that's a whole nother argument or whatever. But let's keep watching.
I don't know what the stats are, but it's got to be like in the top 10th of a percentile on Twitch. I mean, he's killing.
Oh, I think it's even less than that. Top 10th. I think it's like 100th, 1,000th, or whatever.
Right? He is a true full-time streamer. But if you were to ask him, like, am I where I need to be? He would probably tell you no. He wants to keep growing. He probably wants to have a clothing brand, or, launch a podcast, or whatever. There's all kinds of things that this guy probably wants to do. And if you look here, he's entertaining. Look, this is part of Mr. Gibbon's brand, okay? The guy is entertaining. All of his content that he creates on TikTok is his brand and him. And he's not selling his stream in each one of these videos. He's selling himself. Yeah. He's building a brand. He's also learning what is entertaining. He's seeing which videos do well and which videos don't. And then people will go and watch him after they find out who he is. And, DayZ, this is a game that's like not that entertaining sometimes. It's a lot of running. Like, it's a run simulator. Look, he's running right now. I don't even know, what they're doing. But he's talking with chat. He's entertaining. He's going to have great conversations, all throughout the day. And that's why you watch Mr. Gibbon. That's his competitive advantage. That's what he's figured out about himself.
Why would you type Asmond? This is an intentional. He did this intentionally. Asmond. Oh, boy.
So you need to figure out what that is for you. Okay, so one of the worst things you can do is go watch people like Asmongold, Shroud, or Summit watch their streams, or XQC, right? And you're like, oh, here's XQC. He's playing Minecraft. I just need to pull up Minecraft and just play Minecraft and do what he's doing, and I will get, I'll do the same thing that he's doing.
Just act like a spaz.
Wrong. Let's go look at XQC's channel. Okay, how many videos? 4.7 thousand videos.
That's a lot of videos.
Okay. If I were to scroll down on his channel to
Infinite
try to
scroll.
get to some of his older videos, we're going to be here all day.
Yeah.
I tried doing this earlier and I
Sort
was
by
like, okay.
oldest. Sort by oldest.
But what's really interesting is you can go back in time if you've got like maybe a scroll bot or something. It's really hard to go back and watch. You can't sort videos by old.
Oh, you can't?
You can sit here for like an hour and scroll down and eventually get to his old videos and watch him grow over time. Don't look at where someone is now and what they're doing. Look at how they got there.
Yeah.
And also realize that the landscape has changed a lot.
Oh, yeah. Live streaming in general, content creation is super saturated. All right. Good luck, because you're going to need a whole truckload of luck and work. And yeah.
Since these guys made it to the top. And what you want to do is look at somebody like Mr. Gibbon, who went from a hobbyist, you know, in the coronavirus kind of lockdown era, and then now he is full-time. So it's relatively recent. And then again, you know, the whole point of, you know, the monetization structure and how you make it as a creator these days is you create long-form content. And this doesn't have to be a live broadcast. It can be longer form videos like say like a podcast or something like that. And then you cut it down into what I would call traditional shorts. You know, people used to.
So essentially, what he's talking about is you take your long form content, which is like, you know, your live, your podcast, or video essay about whatever like topic you want to talk about. And then from that, it takes all this extra effort. You know, that's, you know, in the beginning, it's going to be hard. And the more you do it, it's going to get easier. But it does take effort to make a bunch of extra, you know, traditional shorts, you know, like 1 to 5 minutes, or actual shorts under 60 seconds for YouTube and TikTok and whatever else. And you're going to create more content from that one long form thing that you made, essentially.
To have short channels that were, you know, 1 to 5 minutes or so, you know, and they would make a separate channel because of the algorithm. And now we have actual shorts, right? So they're under 60 seconds. And it's much easier today because if you go and you look at my channel, the long form videos that show up under this tab are under a different algorithm than the shorts and are under a different algorithm than the live. And if I had a podcast, which YouTube launched recently, you could actually have a different algorithm for that too. So these older channels, if you go to XQC, he had to actually create different channels for this way back in the past. And you don't have to do that today. So that's one hurdle that you don't have to do. Some people are still opting to do that for brand reasons and whatnot. But, you know, that's kind of cool. So where do people get stuck? Well, I think a lot of people grind without learning. And what do I mean by that? Well, they're not adapting, they're not improving. So they're, you know, you'll go to these channels and they'll have like 500 videos, each with like 1 to 10 views or something, or maybe less than 100 views. And you go and you look at their thumbnails and they haven't like changed their thumbnails. They haven't got, okay, like what's the way that people click on a video? A title and thumbnail. I need to think about like, how do I make a title and thumbnail more clickable? They haven't done the research. They haven't put the time in, and they're continuing to be presented with the same situation, and they're not trying anything new. Okay, that's not good. So every single one of your videos, you should be improving on something and adapting. And even worse, they don't grind, they don't put the effort in, and they have the knowledge.
Oh dang!
So they go and they watch.
That's always going to be the fallback excuse. Well, it's not an excuse. The resources are right there and available to you. You're just not taking advantage of them. Essentially, is what he's saying. Yeah.
A bunch of videos about how to do everything, and then they don't actually grind and get better. It's kind of like, have you ever played with somebody who knows everything about Tarkov, but they're terrible? Like they're always the first guy who's going to tell you what to do and all this kind of stuff, but they haven't put the time in to actually like play the game. It's kind of similar to that, right? Or they play a ton, but they're terrible because they've never taken the time to like analyze their gameplay, to like lower their mouse sensitivity, change their settings, watch some.
Don't need to grind when you're just good from the beginning.
Pros and how they do their movement and try to mimic some of those things. It's the same with gaming. It's the same with everything in life, really. You could apply this to investing. You could apply this to any job, really. And so these people that don't grind, they typically give up. A lot of the excuses they tell themselves as to why they're giving up and why, you know, it's not working is it comes down to, it really comes down to they think they're owed views and attention. They're not.
Yep. Nobody owes you anything for what you're doing. If your content is good, people will come and watch you. If it's not good, they're not going to watch you. All right. It's that simple.
Not self-reflecting. And it feeds into this negative feedback loop of, okay, you know, I'm going to give up. A lot of times you'll hear things like the algorithm isn't, you know, is hurting me, the algorithm, whatever. Replace algorithm with audience, replace algorithm with people. That's all the algorithm is it's people making decisions. Going back to the idea that you're an entertainer and people watch you.
Yeah.
Here's this video, the wiggle that killed Tarkov, 2.7 million. Really, really good video. I made a video about lasers. I knew people were asking this question in my shorts, and I knew this was something that people were confused about and would do well. So I made a video about to entertain people, to explain something to people, to offer a service to people. That's essentially what you're doing on YouTube. You're answering a question, you're offering a service, whether it be entertainment, whatever. And it did well. This video did well. I stayed on topic and I gave people what they wanted. I gave them updates to what was going on. I told them what I was going to be doing. I stayed on topic. These videos did well. Again, I make a video going after early access gaming. And who are early access gaming supporters? Everyone who plays Tarkov is an early access backer. And there's a lot of crossover to Star Citizen. So of course this video didn't do well. This video got the most dislikes of like any video I've ever made.
Jeez.
Okay, it's got a
I thought
terrible
that was a
ratio.
good video.
And I kind of knew that going in, but it proves the point that people don't watch me; they watch my content. And if I make bad content, they'll stop watching. It's that simple.
Oh shit! You telling me my taste in content sucks? Dang it!
Another thing that people do is they create a community. Which is great, but they almost create like relationships with every single person who watches them. Okay, the person comes in the chat, they say hi, they know their name, they know a little bit about them, they have a quick conversations, and it's, you know, they basically collect a bunch of needy people around them. And eventually they're going to outpace the ability to maintain this. So for most people, the view cap's going to be around 30, sometimes 100, if you're super charismatic and you're just like really good at that kind of stuff. And so I'm going to tell a little story time. I once streamed and did a duo stream with this girl who was stuck into this, right? And we played some Tarkov, and the entire time, like literally, I while we were in raid, like trying to get stuff done, I could not even ask her where are you at, where are we going next, what item do you need? Because the entire stream, she's trying to keep up with her chat and having these like kind of intimate conversations, right? And checking with, oh hey Johnny, how you doing? What and all this kind of stuff. And so the problem is, as you grow past your 30 cap and you start talking to new people, well, the people that have a relationship with you are now feeling like cheated, right? And they're going to go find somebody else who's going to give them more attention. You have to get this mindset of having a relationship with each individual person in your stream. You need to think about creating entertainment that scales. So your show...
This is kind of like, at least for like stand-up comedians, there's different levels and different kinds of jokes. So there's like a joke that you can tell to like a single person. There's a type of joke that you can tell to like a group of people. And there's a type of joke that you can kind of tell to like maybe a room full of people. And then there's a type of joke that you can tell to like a stadium of people. All right, there's different levels of said joke, essentially.
Oh, every time you make a video or a stream, you need to think, okay, if 100,000 people were to watch this, okay, that's a lot of people. If you just think about how many people that is, okay? If you go to like a theater or like an auditorium where you would go see a big play or something like that, you're talking like 1,000 to 2,000 people.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking, 100 times that number of people, if they were to watch my content, like what would they think? Okay, is it good? Is it going to hold up? Are people going to enjoy it? Start thinking like that. And
so what he's kind of getting at is like what I said before, the different types of jokes is like, so like in general, I would imagine you could be very like in-depth. You could have like an in-depth conversation with a lot of nuance to like a single person. And the more people you add to the audience, then the less and less nuanced it gets. And it just gets watered down to like what you're talking about. And in regards to like entertainment, it's like it's the same thing for like stadium style, stand-up comedy specials, Um I think I was watching like a Kevin Hart like special where he had like a whole stadium or whatever, and the way he talked in it was like he's talking to a stadium. He gets very physical like with how you speak. He had like the flames or something, and every time he told like a joke and everyone laughed, he's like, put the flames up. And it was like, it was awesome. It was very entertaining. But if you were to have that kind of conversation, like on a 1v1 fashion, you would think that person is like mentally unstable, you know? Like, why are you yelling? Why are you telling the flames to go up? We're just like one-on-one talking. So that's what he's kind of getting at.
And don't think about individual people, friends, and stuff like that if you actually do want to grow. So I hope that was helpful. And at this part of the video, I basically want to talk about what I wish someone had told me before I went into gaming content. I wish someone had sat me down and said, okay, listen, here are some downsides, streaming and creating content for gaming. Okay. Number one, the CPMs are just low. So a CPM is how much you're paid per 1,000 views. In some parts of the finance genre, you can get paid $20 to $50 per 1,000 views. Mm-hmm. Now, typically how it works on YouTube is they take like half, and there's a negotiated rate, which you don't actually make the full 50, but you're going to make, a lot more than gaming. Okay?
Oh, dang.
Gaming is...
Look at this. Look at this. Finance related field. Housing, marketing, investing. So these types of things are things that you get into later in life. So the knowledge is going to be, it's like a pyramid, it's going to be it gets narrower and narrower. Like the less people are going to be able to like tell you about it. Tech, it's kind of the same thing, it with tech, he's probably referring to like computers and like cell phones and TVs, like speakers and shit like that. The audience is very wide for it, but it gets narrower. Gaming, everybody's trying to make gaming content, the barrier to entry is huge for financial related fields, housing, marketing, investing. You need to have money to make money, blah, 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 blah. Tech, there is a barrier, but it's not as big as finance. What's the barrier to gaming? Have a computer, have a console, and just start recording. That's the barrier. So with a low barrier, you're going to have a lot of people saturating that market. That's why the CPMs, kind of go like, 5 to 10, 10 to 20, 25 to 50. That's why that's the way it is.
Is $5 to $10 typically. Sometimes I'll make $3 as a CPM, sometimes $5. You're making about half of what the advertiser is paying YouTube sometimes. And then like tech in general is somewhere in the $10 to $20 range. And there are some genres that are paid a lot, some that are not paid at all. And so first of all, like when you talk about a career standpoint, yeah, it doesn't pay as much. And I'm not saying everything in life should be geared around money, but like it helps you buy new equipment. It helps you move forward. So in this space, it's very, very competitive. Advertisers are not paying a whole lot for eyeballs, and it's just kind of a bummer. Yep. And it's just unfortunate side of gaming. And one of the reasons it makes it so competitive is that everyone who has a gaming PC is qualified.
True.
And has the equipment to stream. So
I got the most current console. I got the most current gaming PC. So that's what makes me qualified for the thing.
When I was a wedding and portrait photographer, one of the things you had to compete against were moms with a camera. So, they're willing to shoot a wedding for like a couple $100, where I'm charging $2,000 to $5,000. And, it just lowers the overall amount of money that you can demand, because there's always somebody willing to come in and do it for a lot cheaper. Now, I would argue they're not going to do it as good, and they're not going to have a backup camera, and they're going to lose photos, and they're going to miss moments because they don't know how to use their flash, and they don't know how to handle, dark environments and whatever, right? Like I can make all those cases, but, it does lower the asking value that you can't ask when you have people willing to do that. So I eventually got into like commercial video, and, moms with a camera are not going to spend $10,000, 15, 20, 40 grand on like a camera and lens and all the lighting and all the editing that comes along with it. They're not willing to do that. So the amount of money that you can demand in that field was a lot higher. And then the other problem too is like when you make gaming a job, it's one of the fastest ways to ruin something that you love.
Yeah.
You've seen this in the Tarkov community. You've seen guys that are absolutely forced to play Tarkov because they can't play a different game. And, you know, what they loved, which was playing games with friends and challenging themselves and getting better, they're now trapped. They're now put in a box and they have to do a certain thing. A new patch comes out and the patch isn't good and the game is kind of in a shit place and they're forced to cover it.
All
and make
too familiar.
Another tutorial video or whatever, right?
All too familiar.
And so I had this problem in photography as well, you know.
So, okay.
You take.
So the gaming into a job thing can be the fastest way to ruin what you love. I would imagine this works for any hobby, essentially. You know, for the most part, there's obviously a little give or a little gradient to it, but I would imagine it's kind of the same way for sports. You know, like maybe you played sports when you were a kid and then you kept up with it in like middle and high school. And then, oh shit, all of a sudden you got offered a sports scholarship or whatever to play at this college. All right, awesome. You know, now there's a contract attached to what you're doing. So as long as you are going to be playing this sport at this level, we're just going to pay for you to go to school. All right. Which is, you know, in and of itself, you know, pretty hard. But for content creation, there is no contract. You know, that's what he was talking about before, feeling like owed things, like the audience owing you views and things like that. It's like, no, it's not. That's not how that works. That's how it works in like other industries, but that's not how it works in content creation.
Take photos for a living, and the last thing you want to do is like pull out your camera at a family thing and take photos with your friends and all that kind of stuff. So, and again, this is one of the reasons why there's so much competition in the gaming space, is because, I mean, how awesome is it to like make content for gaming and to play games for a living? I mean, that is like amazing, right?
Yeah.
So where am I headed? Well, so I want to make meaningful content about things in the world. And that seems kind of broad, but I used to make philosophy content before I was a firefighter. When I was looking for a firefighter job, I had to go and delete all that stuff and kind of shut that down and stop that. But I don't want to be confined to one genre. So one of the problems with gaming is like I got to make gaming content. And even within gaming, like if I make something outside of Tarkov, like people aren't going to watch it. And I had to like go through this period of just making broad gaming content, which could take, you know, several months. And, you know, you're really, really confined. So I want to be able to talk about healthcare or finances or crime or whatever. So a little history about this decision to change.
So these types of things, healthcare, finances, and crime, these aren't going to appeal to like a younger audience. This is going to appeal to like things for like an older audience. So yeah, I mean, you know, most of the people on YouTube are younger, but you know, that audience is growing in age. You know, all the old school PewDiePie viewers that were like 6, 7, 8 are now 18, 19, 20, 21, so on and so forth. So I would say that audience is getting like older. You know, people like there's more people on the internet that are now growing like older and older from like when it's, you know, when it first came out, like YouTube first came out. So there is something like that. And now there's even kids that are just born with internet. There's this whole generation of kids that are just born with internet. This is all they know. They don't know the time before internet, before, you know, dial-up. They don't know the time when the Razor phone came out. They don't know about the indestructible Nokia phone where you can just throw it on the ground and, oh, it still rings. Oh, what's up, Joey? What up, man? So yeah.
I made the decision to move away from Tarkov and gaming in general months ago. And I told my wife this, and I told her, okay, listen, I am going to go back to doing what I really want to do. I want to make investigative journalism videos. I want to, you know, get into stuff that matters in people's lives. And I think I can do it in an entertaining way. And I think I have the right voice for it. I think that's what my calling is. And so I made the decision to move away from gaming. I made some pretty passive aggressive videos.
Anytime you're gonna try to change your brand, it's always a gamble. You know, it is what it is. It's always a gamble. You don't know how the next video is gonna perform.
About Tarkov, kind of throwing, you know, because I still love the game. I'm still going to play the game. Like personally, in my personal life, I still love the game. But from a professional standpoint of like making content for it and streaming it, I was getting frustrated. And you're seeing this in Tarkov streamers. You've seen this. I guarantee you have seen this from people you watch. They're frustrated, but they have to. And I didn't want to be in that position. And so that's kind of around the time when I was making some pretty passive aggressive videos, kind of attacking the problems with the game. I thought, well, if I'm not going to make gaming content anymore, why don't I do something a little risky then, like the Wiggle video?
Yeah.
Where, you know, if I get canceled in the Tarkov community, or if this doesn't work, I don't care. I'm moving on, right? So I made my first investigative journalism video, which was the Wiggle video, and it blew up. And this was probably bad for me, because what it did was it gave me every incentive to keep making gaming content and to keep doing a follow-up. And I did for a little bit, and I did a few things. But I realized, okay, my initial plan was to do gaming adjacent, tech adjacent, and then investigative journalism. And I'm just going to go straight into this. So I'm working on a video right now that'll probably come out this weekend.
All right.
And I'm hopefully going to make about a video a week or a video every 2 weeks. Shorter videos about, you know, about one topic that is in a unique way that people haven't seen. And I hope to continue
I'd be
to do
down
that.
to watch that.
And I know that, like this video, it's not going to perform well. My audience doesn't want this. They don't know me for this. And really what I probably should do is create a new channel, but I'm just not going to. I don't care. If it's good content, it'll do well and it'll work in the end. So I was done making Tarkov content before the Wiggle video. And it's going to make this transition difficult, because my audience and the people who have subscribed to me did not subscribe for this, because it's not about me. It's about the content. So anyway, I kind of wanted to make this video as just like an announcement video. I don't think this video is going to perform well, but I feel like this is something I can point people to when they ask questions about what's going on. And this is kind of just my general sorry, not sorry video. So
don't gotta be
if
sorry,
you're interested
man.
in this kind of process, and maybe you're a creator yourself, I've created this channel in the Discord called the Creator Corner, and I'm basically talking about what's going through my mind about the next video that I'm working on. I'm talking to other creators. You can just ask me or Tori to get access. And I'm, you know, like, here's an example. Like, here's a thumbnail that I'm working on for a healthcare video, and this is like a sketch that I made for it. And then I'm kind of showing like where my final version is, right? And I'm getting closer and closer to finishing the thumbnail and kind of my thought process around things. So if you want to follow that, that's a great place to be. It's free. You know, we're all just shooting the shit and talking about content creation. So shameless plug there. I hope to see you in the next video. I'm curious what you guys think. And, you know, if you unsubscribe and don't watch, that's completely reasonable. It's not why you clicked on this. This is just kind of my explanation around things. And I figured some of you guys might find this interesting. And I know I'm going to get questions. And so this is going to serve as a way of answering that for you. You guys have a great week, and I will see you in the next video.
Hey, what's up?
Oh. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely liked it. You know, I'm fine with like people transitioning their content from one thing into another, because they're going to be like happier making a certain type of content. I think that's fine. The thing that's kind of tough to kind of talk about is like, if you don't have like some sort of like buffer of money, like you need to have a buffer of money to make sure you're good for like the next couple years to make like the kind of content that you want, versus, you know, something like maybe you're like the Fortnite streamer guy and all you do is make Fortnite guides and stuff like that, where you feel like you're forced to make a certain type of content that you might, you know, may not want to do anymore. Yeah. If it's, yeah, you can't just make the kind of content that you want right off the get-go, and you have, I don't know. It's just, I don't know where I'm going with that, but I'm fine. This is fine. Goes cool. Yeah, go subscribe to Goat. He's awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, later.